happy they exist.
Oh shit, man! I really want to get into commentary just because I look at the crowd at FV Major and I'm like, you guys need someone to rile you up. Like I don't know what's plus and what's minus, but I know you people like to see a murder.
We have reached the last part of our podcast, our State of Fighting Games recap, where we talk about I believe a tournament that happened that capped off, I guess, the month of July, which happened locally. And with 4 major tournaments happening in it to boot, it was called Flash Vision Major, aka FE Major 2024. I only attended the Sunday one because I wasn't free on Saturday. I believe you attended the Saturday one because you had participated in the tournament and everything.
Glug glug, reporting from the bottom of the swimming pool, face down.
And of course, as you can tell, he drowned in pools. But I believe, okay, let's just preface this. Events are very hard to manage, and
they are very hard to
manage, coordinate. Like I believe this one saying from Mike Tyson actually brought everything to fruition. I mean, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and having the event happening on day 1, day 2, or even day 0 to an extent is basically the equivalent of getting punched in the face 3 times.
Yeah,
hard knocks, and they're hard to manage. They are hard to coordinate, and people will definitely 100% slag you off. It is a terrible event, and when the event turns out great, there'll be some talk about it, of course, but they're not gonna acknowledge the people who made it here and there and everything. So with that preface being said, all that, I will say thank you. I mean, I will have to say yes, good job to FV Major, the organizers, Flash Vision, of course, and all the other sponsors. Unfortunately, I don't have the notes in front of me about that, to say that they did a great job in doing what they can in a mall to have the tournament going on.
Yeah, so actually, I think having the tournament in a mall is a great solution to, like, from a marketing perspective. So I'm just going off how I think this works in my head, which is like, how are you going to promise value to sponsors? You can say, well, we want people to watch this.
Yeah,
and unfortunately,
the foot crowd and everything.
Unfortunately, Malaysia's fighting game scene is not at Evo level where we can book a random hall and promise like, hey, 1,000 people are gonna show up for this and watch a Chipotle ad. We're not going to hit that level. So plonk it in the middle of a shopping mall. Because, look, I'm gonna be real. If like fighting games are way more fun to watch than Mobile Legends. Like they are crowd pleasers. People love seeing Reyna do electrics. Even if they don't know what an electric is, it's easy to see that a cool thing is happening on screen.
And also to understand, because it's just 2 people beating the shit out of each other with fireballs and
special
moves. Yeah.
So I do think having it in a shopping mall is a good idea. But I think the biggest problem with FE Major is just that it's growing, and right now there's the problem of events. So pools, like one of the big problems people had was that pools took forever because there simply weren't enough setups.
I believe there was also like a report, I was either you or me or someone at the event where they said they had to wait 4 hours for the pool to start. I believe the event.
That was me. Yeah, my pool was scheduled for. Oh no, mine wasn't 4 hours. It was like 2 or 3 hours delayed. Pool was supposed to start at 4 p.m. It started at like 6 or 7 because Guilty Gear Strive had 2 setups.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna crawl.
At some point, it moved to a 3rd setup. We were blessed with a 3rd setup. So yeah, and then there's stuff like the scheduling commitments as well. Because I'm in a good position to talk about this because I've been to Evo Japan and I've been to 2 FV majors now. So the thing about Evo Japan is that is the up bar of how you can go. They had 3 fucking stages for that thing. So you had 3 main stages. So grand finals for KOF could happen on one screen, while third strike could happen on another screen, while pools for Tekken could happen on the 3rd screen. Whereas FV Major was you had one stream, and then main stage.
Yeah,
that was
that's
about it.
That's it. Yeah.
So like, again, you're forced to make some hard decisions that I think could have been solved by cutting down the number of games. But then also, if you cut down the number of games, like, you're always like, there's no situation here where you don't piss someone off.
Yeah.
Because
And you cannot
personally,
piss
I'm
off the
like,
people who you have your tournament series with, which is a Tekken World Tour
Yeah.
or the Dragon Ball World Tour. Yeah, as well.
yeah, and or the Arc World Tour, yeah. All three of them. Because it's just like, okay, KOF need to be there.
Yeah, or even Street Fighter
Again.
6 especially. That was never on the stage at all. That was all done offline elsewhere for both days.
Yeah, but okay, with Street Fighter 6, it's like, what are you, stupid to not have a Street Fighter event? Like, yeah, everyone plays Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It's just weird to not have it on the stage because that game is popular. Not Tekken popular. So those of you who don't know, Tekken is like huge in Malaysia. It is so huge that our locals had to get a second day just for the Tekken players because there were too many of them. There were too many of them and there weren't enough setups. I still remember getting a text from Leon the TO being like, yo, just bring your laptop. There's no room anymore because it's all Tekken players. But yeah, so I do think like maybe some hard decisions would have to be made about game lineup. Like, honestly, if they said, hey, we're not going to have any events that are not tournament series, I'd be a little bummed, but I'd be like, oh hey, look, pools are on time. But
there were actually
yeah.
a number of Tekken players who did have to start your pools at 11 p.m. on Saturday, was it? Yeah,
Saturday, yeah.
yeah. Chief
That
of them
is-
being CBM Cherry Berry Mango, one of the top Tekken players out there, basically, along with his teammates and everything. So unfortunately, these complaints are actually public. You can actually see it on Twitter and all that. So it has been brought up, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the other thing, important thing when you're reading about comments about a tournament though, because if you're reading as a normal person, sometimes you'll see all these comments, you'd be like, oh my god, this was a trash fire. You have to remember, most of these people write these comments after being eliminated from pools. So dial that anger down. Like, I had horrible things to say after I got eliminated. And then I took a nap. And that's how you get the measured response that we have now.
Of course, of course.
I was like, garbage piece of shit. No, you have to remember that the opinions of fighting game players are heavily weighted by how they performed at the tournament.
Yeah, it's like an emotional thing too when you think about it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Also, both Evo Japan and FV Major had a major cheating problem. I gotta bring this up.
Yeah, please.
So,
please do.
I competed in Third Strike at Evo Japan. I saw it. So even in Third Strike, you can do this cheat. Motherfuckers bringing their girlfriends with them for moral support. That shit should be illegal, man. I was in line to sign up for pools, and there were these three girls, and I thought, oh man, girls playing fighting games. That's cool. And oh no, we're just here to support our boyfriends. I'm like, ref. How dare you? I'm out here like a Kuma on this island alone, punching statues. They out here like Ken with their family. They went home, going home being family men. That shit ain't fair, man. Even if you defeat one of these people in pools, right? They go home to a loving family, to a loving, healthy relationship. I do think, like, organizational issues aside, I'm glad we have the FV Major. Because I think every FGC scene needs it's like a party.
Yeah, you still
ideally-
get together after not meeting people offline for so long.
Yeah, I like the vibe. So one of my friends at my locals, I've not seen him since Tekken 8 came out, ever since the schism, because he only comes for Tekken Day, whereas I come for Anime Day.
Yeah.
So like we reunited like we hadn't seen each other in months, which we haven't. He's like, oh hey man, I'm just competing in Tekken 8. I'm like, oh I'm doing Strive, and so it's like, you know, that's the joy of these offline events.
Yeah. And despite some of the setbacks this tournament has, I mean, I only came in as a spectator, and I actually had fun playing through some of the setups at the side of the tournament where I managed to get quite a few, like an hour's worth of Neo Geo Battle Coliseum of all games, honestly. Fighting game that should have come out instead of SVC Chaos, but hey, have it in order, right? So whatever, so it'll eventually come out. But the point is, there's something for everyone in that sense, especially if you're playing it offline, coming in as like meeting out with friends, not just that, but also like meeting new people, having a chat with them, maybe have a few games, either in the current game or even a retro game per se. So I do feel that yes, there is some enjoyment to be had of stuff like FV Major, and I'm happy that despite the message that even some of the organizers have put out where they may not have an FV Major 2025 depending on how it goes and how they're gonna sort things out, I really do think these things need to continue on per se at the end of the day, because you still need some representation of to show that hey, the scene is still going on. We can't just have like Mobile Legends ruling the roost the entire time, or I think that's the only one. I guess PUBG as well. PUBG or Free Fire, the knockoff game, you know, living out its life per se, you know. We need some
You should not
variety in
have
sports.
you should not have a public event for PUBG Mobile, because the last thing you want in something like a shopping mall is the sound of gunshots.
Exactly. Yeah. That has to be played like through like other ways, you know, I guess. But at the end of the day, yeah, I just want a variety of tournaments happening here and there per se, and having every major, they're doing the dirty work that no one else wants to do. That's the thing, and I do have to applaud them for that. True, some things could have been worked out really better, especially for some competitors who have made their complaints vocal, especially from the Singaporean side. But again,
yeah, Singaporeans.
Yeah, I know, right? Am I right? The fucking neighbors from the south. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still something that still needs to be done, and I'm actually applaud Malaysia for, you know, still persevering to do every major and other follow-up satellite tournaments coming out. Touch wood, you know.
Yeah, no. I part of me wonders if maybe what we do at locals needs to be done for every major, where, because you know, like how CEO has CEO Taku, right?
Yeah.
Which is where the degen shit goes.
Yes.
Like maybe it's time to do that.
Like a spin-off satellite or something. That could work.
Yeah, something, because like, I'll be real with you, Tekken is huge. You could have made every major just a Tekken event.
Yeah, just one.
And that crowd would have been the same. Yeah. So I think just having a smaller event, but have it be like the other games, would probably work. I don't know the finances that go into that. And also, if you are listening to this and you want to start taking part in locals, first of all, we have our like weekly gatherings on Friday if you're Tekken, Sunday if you're Filth. And also they usually have events at conventions, like they have one at Animangaki this year.
Oh, and the place you mentioned with the locals, that's actually at this place called Atlas Gaming. That's
yeah,
Uptown.
Atlas Gamers, yeah, Damansara Uptown. So yeah, it's, my point is just like, there's events and you should go. The other thing that's very, very important to remember with this kind of stuff is this quote from a Juna video is your locals don't matter. Not in the sense that you shouldn't go, but I mean like, okay, my pools were delayed, I went 0-2, what's this, you know, I had a horrible time or whatever, you know, don't go, like, there's no point going to be like, this terrible tournament, you know, blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's just, it's your local major, whatevs, you know. Like, this is a tournament that like Churara and Daru Ino attended. What, did you think you were walking away with prize money?
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just like learn to go with the flow with it. Is my point. Because I do think like
Support
lot of
when
people
you can
think-
lah, basically, and just go with whatever.
no,
is happening.
I think you need to turn on the part of your brain that enjoys tournaments because I enjoy tournaments. I've gone 0-2 in almost every tournament where I didn't win by DQ. And I don't go in expecting to win third strike. You know, I don't go in expecting to win strike. But I do think playing a tournament match is very different from playing friendlies or ranked. Because you get a very special kind of pressure by competing.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Because you can run a long set in friendlies, right? Like we can run a first 10, and then I can lose the first 10 to you. You can Zangief the shit out of me, and I lose, and I can go, okay, let's do another one, and then now I learn to jump SPD and stuff. You don't get that in tournaments.
It's like first
Like, you
two
get-
and then that's it.
Yeah, you get first 2, so it's like hope you adapt quick.
Yeah.
Like I fought Sugoi in Strive, and motherfucker locked on to every single gap in Elfeld's pressure string and DP'd out of it every single time without fail. And the way my brain works is it would have taken me 2 games to adapt to that. Didn't have 2 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think there's a very special kind of pressure in competing in tournaments, and if you can find that fun, then whatever, just go O2 all you like, but be in it for the thrill.
Yeah,
For
you're
the
there
thrill
for
of
the
that.
fun and everything.
Yeah,
Totally.
I just figured to go into detail about that because like everyone's like, oh, just have fun, but they never explain how to have fun
Yeah,
in tournaments.
the explanation.
Because I do think going in and be like, I don't care about the result is not great either. Like learn to appreciate why you're joining a tournament instead of just grinding ranked, and then the result doesn't matter because you're like, oh no, I'm just here because I really like the stress of sitting around carrying my stick and waiting for the bracket runner to go Wamirul, and having been caught in a Mexican standoff between a TO who doesn't speak English, a Korean player, and you who speak, and neither of you all speaking
Speak the same
common.
language. Yeah, like, common
Yeah.
language. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think once you get that, then you can have the courage to go travel for events as well. Fuck, I spent like 6K going to Japan. I went 0-2 at Strive.
But hey, it's the experience and the friends you make along
Yeah,
the
but
way.
exactly. But it was fun,
That's
and I got to meet Kason, which is bizarre.
nice.
But yeah, that's about it for every major. I think. I do think it's just organizational wise, it could be like there's things they can do better, but I'm not gonna act like I have all the answers.
Yeah, nobody has all the answers in the end of the day. It's all about like, hey, it was pulled off, yes, and we got
Yeah,
to kind of,
no consoles caught fire.
yeah, that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. Nothing caught on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think some of the Malaysianisms of every major are really funny though. Like having to have a lucky draw in between matches is really funny to me
Yeah.
because the lucky draw crowd is so different from the fighting games crowd.
Yes. Yeah.
So just sitting around being like, okay, Akmal, you win, whatever. It's just like questionable. This is a questionable piece of programming,
Yes.
but sure.